Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Well, Steve's not here today. This is Larry Sonnenberg sitting in for him. And I've got with me here in the studios Milan Yurkovich.
Hey, Larry.
Milan, good
it's
to have you.
It's great to be with you.
And not far, far away is Becky Brown.
Hello, everybody. I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah. You know what? I want to go right to the phones. I know there's some things that I was encouraged to talk about at the beginning, but we got a lot of calls up. I want to see how many we can get in. We're going to go right to Jonathan in Florida. Listens on WEGS. Hello, Jonathan. How can we help you?
Hi, and thanks for taking my call. I've been dating someone for the past 3 months, and she was living in terrible conditions when we first knew each other and started dating, and she moved in with me rather after 3 months, and we're wondering if that's a little too soon. After 3 months to even possibly contemplate even getting married, because she's such a good Christian woman, and it's very miraculous how I met somebody and so fast, and I feel like possibly even getting married. So after 3 months of possibly just dating.
Becky, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, my first thought, Jonathan, yes, it's too soon to be moving in. Of course, if she's a godly woman, she probably wouldn't be moving in, and I know everybody doesn't agree with that, but one of the things that we do know about a solid foundation will make all the difference in the world for marriage. And you described her as being in terrible conditions, living in terrible conditions. And so I'm wondering, Jonathan, if you aren't kind of like the hero, rescuing her. And that's the first thought that came to my mind.
Right. I mean,
yeah.
She was living with her uncle that was in such terrible conditions, and he had bugs in his house, and it was bad living conditions, and she couldn't live there no more at all.
Okay, so you rescued her.
Pretty much.
Right. Okay, so if she had lived in a mansion where there were no bugs, would you have asked her to move in with you this quickly?
No, I would not have.
Okay. So the problem is now you're kind of sliding into marriage without really any objectivity about who is she, learning about each other. And, whenever you're in a rescue situation, there's heightened sensitivity and it's exciting and all of that kind of thing. But I would love to hear what Milan's opinion of this is.
Well, Jonathan, I deeply empathize with your situation. You're a good guy and you want to help somebody, and this was a solution. But I agree totally with Becky that when you have the white hat on, the hero with the white hat. At least that's in my world what heroes wear.
Back
the white
in the old
hat,
days,
as opposed to the black hat.
In this generation, it's a cape.
A cape, a superhero. It sets up an artificial relationship that feels joyous and great, and she's very relieved and she's really pleased. But everything Becky just said was really important. So I would recommend that you use the strength of your relationship to create a strategy for her to find better accommodations and for you guys to do exactly what Becky said, to go through a vetting process where you get to know each other's history. And even in that process, if you're with a good counselor, you'll get to know your history and how it affects.
I want to ask a question at the break. When we come back from the break, tell us what prompted you to have a conscience about this that even asked the question.
Wow, that's a great question,
okay.
Larry.
It is a great question.
Yeah, so you hold the line. We'll be back in just a minute. And
that's why I thought he was a great guy.
Yeah, okay.
Because he's making this call, you're right.
There you go.
My husband's been addicted to porn since he was 10 years old.
I found out about 9 months into my marriage that he has a porn addiction.
My name is Shelly Martinkus, and I want to personally invite you to the Restore Workshop. If you have been affected by betrayal, it might be that your husband has been looking at pornography, it might be an emotional, physical affair. I would love for you to come join us.
Restore has empowered me and has given me the tools to work through my anger, work through my pain, work through my confusion, and help me realize that I am worthy.
Being here and being surrounded by people who get it has given me my power back.
Please don't hesitate. Pick up the phone, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I would love to see you there.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Washington, D.C., November 12th through the 14th. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go online to newlife.com.
Thank you, Restore. You have changed my life forever.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Okay, we're back, and we are talking with Jonathan. Jonathan had a lady move in with him. Becky and Mylan said maybe a little too early, and we're wondering, Jonathan, what made you call us? What was the prompting in your spirit?
We didn't say maybe. It was too early.
Yes,
I think
you're right.
Becky was
Right,
quite
correct.
clear that
Yes.
it was too early.
It's too early.
Yeah, maybe
What?
too early, but like I said, I've gotten to a point in my mind where I'm not too sure what to do here. I mean, she's like, well, maybe we should just go ahead and get married, and maybe that will resolve the
No.
issues that
No.
has been happening.
No, Jonathan, no.
Is that why you called? Because you were concerned that she might want to marry, or was there a prompting before that?
I mean, we've discussed it a couple of times, and I'm like, we've known each other for 2 years, but we've only been dating for 3 months.
Okay, and so then before you rescued her, were you attracted to her during those 2 years? Like, was there a dating relationship that was kind of building, or?
We were kind of, okay, we talked about dating at one time, then she got with somebody, and then when she was with somebody and she didn't work out with them, I got with somebody, and now we both were single, and here we are today.
Okay, so then my next question, which you can choose to answer or not, but you might as well. Are you already having sex?
I tried to delay it and put it off.
No, well,
That's a yes.
It's yes or no. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so
yes.
here's the thing, Jonathan. You want to have some, the fact that you guys have this history together is a little better than what I initially thought, that, you just met her 3 months ago and here we are. But what's happening is all of this other stuff is confusing the truth about your connection with each other. And so I heard you say that you were feeling a little bit of pressure because she's wanting to get married. She's saying, why don't we just go ahead and get married, and this would fix all this. Marriage doesn't ever fix anything on its own. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it just doesn't. But I think that there are some steps, whether it's that you help her get set up in another space, that you begin to practice what's not safe sex. That's not what I'm talking about. Abstinence. That's the word I was going towards. Just to kind of clear the air, to get some clarity. Now, I know that I am not of this generation, but I'm telling you, from all the times that we have talked to couples who have been married and they had a start like this, there's problems on down the road, because then you look back and you go, we should have waited, we should have looked at this, we should have thought about that.
So, Jonathan, have either of you been married before?
Both of us have.
Okay. How many times for her and how many times for you?
One for her, one for me.
Okay. And do either of you have any children?
She has 2 children from a previous marriage, and she doesn't have full visitation. She only gets visitation every other weekend, and the courts have arranged it to where, it's supervised visitation due to previous constraints of other relationships she's had before.
Okay. So Jonathan, there is your red flag.
Warning, warning.
Anytime the courts are involved in child custody issues, this is a big deal, and you don't know fully this person yet. You haven't seen her in action. That is to say, she's absolutely enamored with you because you rescued her, but why on earth was she living in, I'm going to use a different word than you used just to emphasize a point, but why on earth was she living in squalor, you see? What is the nature of where she's used to living and the relationships, and she's really in a disadvantaged position. So of course she's going to say, hey, let's get married. That is code for, will you take care of me? And we want to be really careful of that, Jonathan. Now, she may be a wonderful person. She could have changed. She may have great potential, but make sure you've thoroughly investigated that entire history of both you and her, and you each need to know each other's full history. Becky and Larry, I know a woman who was going to get married to a person that had been married twice before, and she went and interviewed both of those wives.
Wow. Brave woman.
Because she wanted to know, what's this guy really like? And she got a really different picture than what he was presenting.
Well, sure.
Well, sure. But how many people think to do that? They just know, I'm intoxicated right now with this love, and I don't want to ask any hard questions. I don't want this feeling to go away.
This is what I was thinking as you're talking to Jonathan. I'm thinking, if I'm talking to your girlfriend, Jonathan, I am saying to her, you need to not get married right now. You need to find you and find your strength and get stable on your 2 feet, because as females, we will run to whatever's right there. We just talked to somebody earlier today who is in a situation like that. So I would encourage her to, do what she needs to do to get healed, get whole. And then when you guys, when you're in a better place, you can make that decision clearly. And I know that's a perfect world, but that's just what I think.
Well, even if Becky and Larry, they went into couples counseling together and said, help us investigate the histories of each of our lives and why we're here right now and what each of us is seeking to receive from this relationship. And I have done premarital counseling for 1.5 years with one couple that I can think of that I slowed them way down. I said, don't get married. You're not ready. And they took 1.5 years.
Right.
And then they're still together now because they did a lot of work as a couple together before they said, I do. Larry?
Jonathan, what about take your life back?
Sure. And give it to her.
Okay. It's coming your way, Jonathan. We want to talk to Danielle. Danielle listens on WAVA. She's in Hyattsville, Maryland. Hello, Danielle. How can we help you?
Hi there.
Hello.
I turned 30 this year, and it's been a very tumultuous year, I guess to say the least. I was a caregiver with my mom for my grandmother who has dementia, and she passed away this year at 96. And during this year, my mom was also diagnosed with breast cancer. Thank God she had her surgery, had it removed. She's good to go. Then she also broke her ankle in 3 places. So I was caregiving for her, my grandmother, and still working 30 to 40 hours a week. And so it was been a crazy. And so I am trying my best to begin to really implement boundaries. I've been reading the book, and I'm 90% through it. And this will be the first time I feel like I'm really kind of separating myself from my mom, from my brothers, and trying to establish myself as just figuring out who I am. And so I had planned at the end of this year to move, and I felt like for me and just the way my family structure is, I would need to physically move to a different state that I've been to before in order to just, again, feel like I have space to actually breathe. And so made the plan. Surprisingly, my mom and my dad were supportive of me. I have 2 older brothers. Middle brother was supportive. Oldest brother, he's the only one who's not really supportive right now in terms of that decision. I think part of it is that he's kind of afraid, but my question is, so being my older brother, he doesn't really ask me for help a lot. And so he had texted me twice and said, hey, like, I need you. And I'm like, you need me for what? I don't really know what he's talking about. He's like, I need you to stay. I'm like, stay here? And he's like, yeah, can you stay for like a year because I need your help with Mom and with his daughter he recently had. And so I guess I'm trying to figure out, at least a minute in my life, again, I don't ask for help a lot. So I'm trying to figure out what is a good reason to kind of adjust my plan. Besides babysitting or just being there physically with my mom, I don't really know what other help I could give him that I couldn't give from somewhere else. And so I'm just trying to figure out, I guess, what is a good reason to kind of adjust my plan.
Okay, so Danielle, your brother wants you to be the permanent caretaker in the home and in the family. Mm-hmm. See, if you're here, then I don't have to take care of Mom and I don't have to take care of Dad.
And the baby's a good excuse.
Well, yeah, and so speaking of differentiation, here is one of the things that's pulling you back from differentiating. I loved your vision for where you want to go and why. And I loved your usage of the word breathing room and all these different utilizations of ideas of, and I'm going to create a distance because I have to free myself. If you stay there, you're going to constantly be tapped on the shoulder because you're the known caretaker. Mm-hmm. And you do a good job.
Danielle, how old did you say you were?
I'm 30.
Okay. So I agree 100% with you, Mylan, of course, because you're brilliant. But Danielle, here's the thing. When you're reading that book called Boundaries, there's a part in there that talks about if there's any no in you, the answer has to be no. And it might not be no forever. It might be no for right now. Mm-hmm. Do you remember reading that?
Yes.
Okay. And so it's a big risk for you because you love your family. I mean, my first thought was when you said the older brother, had concerns, I'd have been like, well, too bad. That's terrible.
That's compassionate, Becky.
That is compassionate, Becky. But I also know that your conscience will not rest if there's a part of you that leans that way. So that's why I mentioned if there's a no in you, and it might be a no, not right now. It's not like you're moving to Siberia, and it's not like you're going to disconnect from the family, and it will be uncomfortable for him, like Mylan said, and yet they will work it out.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
Okay, no, that makes sense. I think it's just my conscience, and he has a stressful job, and I know part of it is that he needs to take responsibility, but I worry sometimes. So.
Yep.
But see, that worry of how others will be without you is the very thing that can limit you. Mm-hmm. See, because that's the tether that you have to learn to cut. Because if you worry about them excessively, then you're going to want to caretake them again. Mm-hmm. And so you're the family caretaker, and you worry and you think and you're hypervigilant. You look at your family and you go, how are they doing? How are they doing? How are they doing? And if they're not doing well, you want to help take care of them. And I love that your mom and dad said go.
Yeah, support.
And I think that's fabulous.
A big deal.
Fabulous.
Whenever we override the feeling of the no,
yes,
we also run the risk of resentment.
That's right.
And so if you stay and there's a no in you, and especially because your parents encourage this, you run the risk of resenting your brother and maybe even resenting your parents because, you have this vision. I need to go. I need to have breathing room. And who knows, Danielle, you'll get some breathing room and you'll go, you know what? This is what I want to do. And it may be something completely different. So we're going to encourage you. Keep reading Boundaries. You're almost done. Get 10 more %.
What other book can we send her? She already has Boundaries. She's doing
Take Your Life Back.
All right.
It's like the book of the day.
It is. I want to read real quickly a testimony from Restore, which is coming up next month. Before coming to this workshop, I felt like I was going to lose my mind. I was feeling like God was punishing me. I was afraid of my marriage failing. I didn't know that I had rights. This weekend's been so meaningful. The workshop's been the best gift I've ever had. I've received clarity, resources, and strength from women who are going through the same thing. I'm so grateful. Thank you, New Life, for my scholarship to this workshop. It's been such an avenue of hope, restoration, and above all, affirmation that God's love is genuine.
Wonderful.
Ladies, if you've suffered betrayal, give us a call. That's a workshop for you. If this is not your workshop, or if you have the willingness and wanting to help others, make a gift. Give to our scholarship fund. Help somebody else like this lady that wouldn't have been to that workshop and experienced what she did had it not been for those other donors who have sent gifts for our scholarship fund. We appreciate that. We'll be back right after this. And when you give, we'll give you understanding and loving a child with smoke spot. Thank you.
It had become very apparent that some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. It's just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. New Life's Every Man's Battle Workshop can help.
After 7 years, just one weekend, a completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Workshop.
He said, I think this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
Now the workshop is coming to Orange County, California, November 5th through the 7th. Don't wait for him to call. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com. 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the New Life member thank you gift of the New Life Journal, 100 Days of Peace, 7 Ways to Choose Healing, Growth Has No Boundaries, a Restoration Bible, and a New Life grocery tote to hold it all. Plus, there are ongoing benefits, like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Okay, we are back, and we're going to talk to Karen. Karen is calling from Dallas, Texas, listens on Sirius XM. Hello, Karen. How can we help you?
No, you're supposed to say, hi, y'all.
Hey, hi, y'all.
Uh-huh.
There you go.
Oh, howdy.
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 I don't have a text. Hey, thank you for taking my call. I just adore you. I listen to your program every day, and I've got a situation that I think the three of you can help me with. So I am 54, and I've had a strained relationship with my mom most of my life, as well as with my father. And my father passed away a year ago, and in his will, he left everything to either my brother or my sister.
Oh.
And I have another sister that has passed. I have another sister that had since passed away. Otherwise, I'm sure she would have gotten things. But anyway, so after my father passed, my mom mailed my son, who's 21, his watch, which was a Rolex from 1972. And I remember my dad wearing it. I remember when he got it, and she just mailed it to him and said, it's probably worth nothing, but your son can have it, kind of like a throwaway gift. So we got it appraised, and it was worth $75,000.
Wow.
And so my mom thinks it's worth nothing, and it was given to my son, and so I told my son, I will sell it because I don't want to insure it, and you're in college, and this is a great
investment for you. And so we sold it, and he invested it. He's a smart Christian boy. And my mom's asking my son, so how are you wearing Grandpa's watch? How do you like your watch? And I told my son, do not talk to your grandmother yet about this, because I've sheltered my kids from the dysfunction in my family. Shame on me, because my son thinks my grandma or his grandmother is a wonderful person, and I know she's not, but I've removed my family from all of that. So we're at this crossroad of, I need to be completely honest with my grandmother when she's asking me, and I'm saying, please just wait. And so I can't keep putting my 21-year-old son off anymore, saying, please wait when Granny asks you what you're doing with your watch. But I know it will cause further harm in the family if she knows what she just gave him. It'll be like a bomb dropping, and I don't know how to handle this. And by the way, none of my other family is Christian. So,
Karen, the first thing I want to say is shame off you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you said shame on me. No, shame off of you. You have had to make really important, really hard boundary decisions. The fact that your father's will excluded you says a lot about your family of origin without you even saying anything. And the fact that you've been able to create a connection with your children with their grandparents despite that says a lot about you. Says, you know, that you're able to rise above and move forward. Now, this is a tricky situation. You know, so my first question would be, what has that conversation between you and your son been like?
I told him that there is some ill will that I have towards my mom as well as my dad. I haven't told him why, because I caught my dad in an affair at 13. Well, I don't want my son to know that. So I just said there's some ill will, and it's some things that you wouldn't understand at this point, but I'm kind of working through how I should approach my mother with this. So my son kind of knows there's a little bit of stuff going on, but no way the depth and breadth of anything that's happened.
Are you saying, Karen, are you saying that you caught your dad, but your mom doesn't know?
No, I caught my dad, and I told my mom. And that was the demise of their marriage, but they stayed married. And so when I would see them fight growing up, it's my fault. It's my fault. Shame on me. Shame on me again for catching them and telling my mom. I didn't know. I was 13 years old. I didn't know.
Karen.
So
there was
Karen,
I never had a relationship with my dad. For that.
Karen, I'm going to come at this from a different angle, and this is really important. It's almost as though you view your son as a boy. He's 21, and he was given something, and basically you told him to do something else with it. Now, as to the wisdom of that choice, I will not make a comment because I don't know, but I just really want you to be thinking that he's no longer the little boy sitting in the back seat that you're looking at through the rearview mirror eating a Happy Meal from McDonald's. He's a 21-year-old in college. What we talk about in our book, How We Love Our Kids, is that by the time they're 18 years old and they're adults, they can get drafted, they can vote, they can, go into a court of law, they can create a contract, etc. They need to know the family dynamics and the reality of that, because that is the family out of which they have emerged. And I really want to encourage you to be thinking about, they don't have to know all the details, but I need you to really even think through that the selling of the watch at some level was a reaction on your part to the family system, and I don't know how much of it was really his decision. And so you're right, it is tricky, but I might start there by saying, I don't know that I should have told you to sell that and invest that. Because you're a young man now, and I would start there.
Okay, well, we're going to come back right after this, so please hold the line.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Okay, we're back. We're talking with Karen, and Karen presented an interesting, difficult situation. And Becky, you have a couple of thoughts about it.
Karen, I want to repeat, shame off of you, okay? So that's
Absolutely.
got to be your work. Okay. And I don't know how much counseling you've done about this issue, but when you said that you were 13 when all of that occurred, it occurred to me that the 13-year-old in you is still operating the secrecy. The fact that you haven't had a conversation with your son, you know, this doesn't make them bad. People make really poor decisions all the time. But I think that it would clarify to him what he may already have figured out. You know, I mean, I know that there are so many family secrets in families, and then when the truth comes out, they go, oh, now that all makes sense. Like, I understand why, you know, Granny doesn't talk to you, or, you know, whatever. But,
right.
And the thing is that I don't know if you feel like you needed to get rid of the watch because it represented so much pain.
Mm-hmm.
That then the like your son had.
Can I clarify that on the watch?
Sure.
Let me just clarify. Because he is over 18, my husband and I 100% said it's in the safe until you decide what to do with it.
Okay.
But I had it appraised and I had it cleaned, and he's the one that sent it to the watchmaker and to have it sold. I mean, he totally decided all this on his own. He said, I will never wear that. I would feel guilty wearing it. Like, I let him process all that. So I don't feel like that was I was the driving force behind him selling that at all. But it's a huge amount of money that I felt like this is a responsibility that I kind of need to, you know, say, if
okay,
you're
Karen,
here's what we're going to do. If you're going to let's insure it.
Okay, Karen, let me just say that that's good to understand. But I also want to tell you this. I feel very sad that a 13-year-old Karen had to be the person who discovered that your dad was having an affair, was upset by it, agitated by it, that you were never close to him, and that you had to be the bearer of bad news. that's a horrible role
Right.
for you to have been in, and I want to just tell you how much that is sad to me. But Becky said something that was very important. That is that little 13-year-old's still in there, and I want to really encourage you to help her heal from that and continue to grow. And with your mom still alive, it's hard because she's still that provocative force in your life. So I really want to encourage you to not forget that 13-year-old and how sensitive and hurt she was.
You know, the thing you said also, that your family are not believers, you are breaking all the family rules.
Yeah.
Right, Karen? And in a good way. And so you need to learn to continue to speak your truth, including speaking your truth to your 21-year-old son. Well, let me tell you the reason why some of this is going on. And like Mylan said, you don't have to get all the details, but, you know, truth can set you free. It might hurt a little bit in the beginning, but eventually that freedom, you know, begins to help you grow and heal. And I feel for you. I think that when family secrets, you were trained from 13 on, don't tell the truth because it doesn't fix anything. Is that right?
Took her off.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Well, I just would encourage you, Karen, to continue doing that healing work. I would even invite you to come to Restore. I think that you would gain so much insight in healing just in that weekend because you were betrayed. Your father was the betrayer, but it caused all kinds of repercussions afterwards.
Becky, that's an excellent idea. I don't think of it oriented that way. That we usually orient that toward betrayal by a husband, but to realize you're betrayed by your dad, same concept. You know, who am I? Why did that happen? And why did he betray my mom? And all those kinds of things.
Right.
Book for her. What do you
Rescued.
Oh, okay. Well,
Which book?
Rescued, Shelley's book, Rescued.
Workbook.
Oh.
It's a great workbook that will just help you process those kind of things that have it makes you feel like you're sinking. And I think it would be really encouraging to you, Karen.
Karen, thank you for your call. That was a wonderful, hard, but thank you. We're honored that you would call us.
We're going to talk to Linda in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, out of Boyertown, WBYN. Hello, Linda. How can we help you?
Hello. I'm hoping you can help me. I will tell you this happened about 50 years ago, and I went to the hospital to have my second child, and something happened in there to my mind. I think it seems like, you know. After my second baby was born, I was taken back to the room, you know, and was in there when my husband came in. And he immediately turned on the TV instead of looking at me, you know. And I asked him to turn it off because I was exhausted. And that noise and the light and everything was, I was just totally exhausted. And so he still didn't connect with me at all. He was just sitting there beside the bed, you know, and not connecting at all. And so he said, I may as well go home. After he left, I had this kind of strange out-of-body feeling where it seemed like my mind was leaving my head, you know, and like it was like there was something up in the upper left-hand corner of the window, and it was looking down at me. And I just felt so weird, you know. They got the doctor in, you know, to see what was wrong with me, and he couldn't determine anything wrong. But I just felt so, something had changed, you know. And so the next day, when we went home, my firstborn had been with a sister-in-law, and she was just a delightful little girl. She was a little over 2, about 2.5, and I had loved that girl. She was such a sweet little baby. And my emotions were totally dead. I could not feel a thing toward her. And I have had questions about this for years I've been asking different counselors where I was at, and nobody can tell me what happened. Because
well, Linda, let me ask you this. Well, it didn't ever come back? Your daughter must be 50-something years old now, right?
She turned 50 on October the 9th.
Okay. And have you had a relationship with her?
50. We do have a relationship. It wasn't very good there as a teenager. I would try, but the emotion wasn't there. It was fake. And a child can feel that,
Did you ever reconnect with your husband? You said you didn't feel like he connected with you after the second child was born.
Well, yeah, he hadn't before that either. But and I think that's a lot of it. And I had studied already that your brain can do a transfer.
Are you still married to him?
Boss, yes, yeah, and we have 9 children altogether.
Wow. Okay, hold on, Linda. Our time is really winding down.
Yeah,
Linda, Linda, had you had any previous traumas in your life where you had been violated, hurt, unseen, abused, neglected?
Not seriously.
Well,
I mean,
what does seriously mean? What? When we say, no, I haven't been seriously abused, traumatized, or neglected, or abused, I mean, help me out here.
Right, yeah. I was molested when I was maybe about 12, and then was sexual with my first boyfriend, and then again with my husband that I married.
Okay, so just stop.
It was very sexual.
Just stop right there. What you said was important, very important. The fact that you were molested at 12 years old, a lot of people, when they are molested or they go through a trauma, they do something that's called dissociate. They disconnect. Yeah. They have an out-of-body experience. Their body escapes the trauma. It's something the brain naturally does. And when we come back from the break, we'll talk a little bit more about that, and Becky, and we'll add some insights to that. But you're trying to find an answer to something that happened 50 years ago. And I'm not a betting man, but if I was, I'd go to Las Vegas right now, and I'd bet everything I have that what you experienced was a dissociative event based upon your trauma at 12 years old.
Okay, we'll be back just right after this break.
My husband's been addicted to porn since he was 10 years old.
I found out about 9 months into my marriage that he has a porn addiction.
My name is Shelly Martinkus, and I want to personally invite you to the Restore Workshop. If you have been affected by betrayal, it might be that your husband has been looking at pornography, it might be an emotional, a physical affair. I would love for you to come join us.
Restore has empowered me and has given me the tools to work through my anger, work through my pain, work through my confusion, and help me realize that I am worthy.
Being here and being surrounded by people who get it has given me my power back.
Please don't hesitate. Pick up the phone, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I would love to see you there.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Washington, D.C., November 12th through the 14th. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go online to newlife.com.
Thank you, Restore. You have changed my life forever.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the New Life member thank you gift of the New Life Journal, 100 Days of Peace, 7 Ways to Choose Healing, Growth Has No Boundaries, a Restoration Bible, and a New Life grocery tote to hold it all. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Okay, we're back. We're talking to Linda and Mylon. Do you want to continue your thought?
Well,
click the button. There
I
you
was
go.
just going to have Becky carry on from here. That it really is. And listen, Linda asked a brilliant question. What happened 50 years ago?
Right.
And I believe that's what happened 50 years ago. Becky?
I think it actually goes back further. You know, Linda, when Mylon asked you if anything significant had happened to you and you revealed that you had been molested, there was a laugh that came after that. And so there was a disconnect at that point. And a lot of times that's what happens. You know, I sometimes think it's the grace of God, because for people who have been victimized, to withstand that horrific experience can be so overwhelming. But then when the baby is born and you have this other event, there is trauma it's kind of reverberating. And so throughout the years, you've looked at this, you've wondered about this, but I think what's happening is you're missing the part that needs to be healed, because it gets focused on the event that happened when the second child was born. You know, obviously being a mother of 9 children can be pretty overwhelming. And I love that you have this inquisitiveness about what is this, what happened. And I would encourage you to seek a trauma specialist, trauma-trained therapist. And the other part of this too, Linda, is I want to know, like, I would want you to search and look at the present day, how this impacts you today. I know you're real curious about what happened back then, and I do think it's just that reverberation of the trauma that happened previous. But I would want you to find some peace in this current day with your children, even though they're 50. I mean, you know, they're adults now, you know, but that you would have some peace and reassurance of that connection with not only your husband, but also with the kids.
You know, I'll say one last thing here, and that is that what she experienced is in some way a reenactment of a molestation. That is, a male walks in the room, he was the reason she had the pregnancy and the baby, and then he disconnects from her and walks away from her, and it's just
great insight.
You know, it's almost as though she felt used again, and so, you know, that creates a triggering of the similarities to the abusive event of being used and then disposed of.
Yeah, great insight.
Yeah,
book for her.
I would say the book that we have often recommended, Take Your Life Back, which is it touches so many things, including the attachment experience from her own childhood growing up.
Okay.
So,
well, we're going to go now to our final caller for the day. We're going to talk to Roger. Roger is on line 3, listens on our app from Philly, Pennsylvania. Roger, speak to us. How you doing?
Hey, guys. I'm doing good. How are you?
Okay. How can we help you?
So, yeah, I've been married for about a little over 2 years, and my wife and I have been separated for about 3 months, and she doesn't talk to me. And last she talked to me, she said that she's done, and she's pretty close to divorcing me, and I haven't heard anything about a divorce. But, you know, I made some mistakes, and I think it started so we lived in central New Jersey, and my family's from, like, the Philly area, and it started, like, around when COVID happened, so, like, March of last year, and my dad got really sick with dementia, and I started to go back home from time to time because I was, you know, not working, so I was getting unemployment, but I wasn't working, so I started to go home from time to time for a few days just to help take care of my dad, and you know, my wife was very supportive, and I know that was probably wrong because it probably opened up. I mean, hadn't even been married a year, so it probably opened up doors, and it started to feel good, because I was feeling like independent and whatever. And then finally I moved there, which she supported fully, and we saw each other on the weekends and stuff, and so we still made the marriage work, but I could see that it was kind of hurting her, and I was drifting. Like, I was definitely drifting from God, and God, I wasn't putting God first. And
Roger, we're going to need a question from you. We're going to run out of time. So give us a question.
Yeah. Well, the question is, finally this all came to an end when we got in a fight because she was going to go to Costa Rica and she didn't want to bring me, and and I kind of got mad. And I guess the question is my question is, I don't believe in divorce. I can never divorce her. And I know I was in the wrong, and I've repented, and I've worked on myself, and I've put the work in.
And your question is, we need a question.
My question is how do I move forward? Like, I don't want a divorce, but she doesn't talk to me. So how should I see the marriage? How should I see the marriage?
Roger, you left the marriage when you moved home. So. Yes. I mean, I know that you're doing all this. So you said, how do I move forward? Well, step one would be to move in the same city as your wife.
Okay.
And then you two go to counseling together. She's been abandoned. Now, in the beginning, it's understandable because your dad had dementia. It makes sense. You got these family obligations. But at the point, in an early marriage, it is that leave and cleave. It is figure this out, and we're going to have to make, sacrifices, and we're going to blend our lives together. But instead, what you guys did was, well, we're married, but we're going to live our separate lives. And then for you to say, I'll be married to her forever. Well, you got to start today. And you need to, we talk about mutual submission. The Bible talks about that all the time, that you need to die to self, and that you are mutually committed to one another. And I know that's a very simple first step, but it has great implications. You will not know if you can stay married if you do not make that sacrifice. And it's really not a sacrifice. You're going to go live with your wife. I mean, let's start with that.
I want to. I know I would love to, but I'm saying she doesn't. I want to. Definitely,
okay.
But she doesn't
okay.
talk to me.
Well, then start looking for a place to live next door to her, you got to make that step. Mylan?
Well, I have no idea whether she will ever listen or want to get back together with you. But what happened is inadvertently, or whether you meant it or not, Becky's right. You abandoned her, and here she is married, and you've been married a year or so, and you're gone. And that's really hard and harsh. And I love your intentionality here, but you're going to have to do what Becky said and then see if she responds. You need to make big, bold moves to show her how serious you are. And we have no idea whether they'll work, but if you really want to show her your love, that you would have to do something dramatic like that. I agree with Becky.
She won't listen to your words. She'll listen to what you do.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Really good.
Okay.
I
just have one more thing to say, if you don't mind. I understand that, that was harsh and everything, and you don't really have any idea how hard I've repented. How hard I've.
Right, Roger, I get it.
We get it.
Roger, I get it, and we're up against the end of the show. But here's what I want you to know: take that remorse and move it towards your wife. Get with a counselor. Begin the steps, and whether you can invite her to go with you or you can go on your own, but you have to show up in your marriage as someone who's willing to go beyond and not worry about a vacation somewhere. I just think you've got to move towards her.
And with that, we'll send him Take Your Life.
How We Love.
How We Love.
Well, no,
That's
How We
even
Love.
better.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a really good book for you. It would help your wife too, but don't give it to her. You read the book. Right. And then after you guys restore a semblance of a relationship, then maybe share it with her. We'll be back tomorrow.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you. But you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.